Hello YouTube, welcome to How to Code in Python. This is a series where I'm going to show you how to do many things, many great things with Python, including looking like a hacker. This little bit right here took less than maybe 30 seconds to actually code. So let's get right down to it. First thing we're going to start with is variables. What is a variable? I'm pretty sure most of you took algebra. If not, you probably want to go take algebra. A variable is just a symbol that you assign to any value in Python. A symbol or a set of symbols, basically a pattern. The way Python runs off of, you can define any pattern as a variable. Let's just say I want the variable apple. This variable apple is not going to be, is going to be stored as the 5 characters capital A, lowercase p, L, and E right behind each other. The space right here doesn't matter whatsoever. Python does not take spaces into account, but it looks a lot cleaner when you go to type things. You'll get into the habit of it eventually. Well, let's say I want to say this apple equals 1. But there is one thing about variables. They do not count uppercase A's and lowercase a's to be the same. They separate uppercase and lowercase letterings because they are two different characters. So A and A do not equal the same thing. You can say that this A equals 2 and this A equals 3. And when you go to run this, we're just going to run it in idle. Oh, and that's another thing you're going to want to do. Before you actually start trying to code in Python, you're going to want to go down to the Python website. And you're going to want to use it. You're going to want to download the Python from the Python website. It comes with the shell itself, or the Python console itself, and the idle shell. The idle shell is great for debugging. As you can see here, we have an editor. Python does come with its own editor, but I prefer to use Notepad++. It just looks cleaner to me. But over here you can see that we have our 3 separate variables. We say apple, it returns a value of 1. We say capital A, it returns 2, and lowercase a returns 3. We try to type B, B is not defined. Or even uppercase B, not defined. We can assign uppercase B to, let's say, 57, just a number right off the top of our heads. And we can use it right off the bat in the shell. But if we try to use a lowercase b, it'll still say the name B is not defined. Alright, that's enough of that. When you're going to make a variable, you want to keep an eye out for keywords. There are very many keywords to Python, like class. You'll see it turns blue in Notepad++. Or let's say def, meaning define. That defines a function. We also have for, and, not, or. We don't have other gates like nor and that sort of stuff. But these are Boolean, these 2 are Boolean functions. Well, these 3 are Boolean functions, I believe. Oh, wait, no, Boolean is true and false. You can type true and false in here. So let's say you want to say while true, print apple. That'll print the variable apple, but we have not defined. Being we have deleted the variable that was there, labeled apple, it will not be defined until you say that apple is up there. Now, that being said, when you have these little loops right here, while true, print apple. Now, you can change this while loop here. We'll get into the while loop later, but what the while loop will do is it'll show us some neat ways of doing things. Here we go. Got rid of that. Another great thing about Notepad++ is when you make strings of things, you can actually collapse them whenever you write them out completely. Alright, I want to take a look at this other function. This is the function that I showed you guys right off the bat when I first started the video. This is that one that made it look like I was doing some hacksy stuff, when in fact I wasn't. We're just going to save that one. It's still saved as that, but we're just going to collapse it for now. We're going to open garbage once again. See, as you can see, it runs a lot of this stuff, and you can see it's spamming along the bottom. It looks very complex, very like, what do we call it? Complicated to write just from looking at this, and it'll scare pretty much anybody who's looking at your computer, thinking, oh no, he's actually doing some hacking work. No, that's just Hollywood movies that do that. But no, this is all it is. It's just these 5 lines. Really, we can make it just 4 lines right here. 4 lines, that's all it takes. And it's not even long lines, it's defining the variable, our variable being A, and saying our variable is a string. If you can see here, we have quotes around it. When you see quotes surrounding something, it's going to regard this as a string. It will print this out as a string. This whole value right here, it's not seeing as a number. It's seeing as, say, a word, maybe. I guess that's the best way to describe it, is its own word. A is assigned to a value that is the meaning of that. It's like, say, we have assigned the word bread to the item bread. This is technically called A. But like, say, if we had the food bread right in front of us, we wouldn't say, oh, I don't know what that is. We wouldn't call it, oh, this is a series of molecules. Here's all its components. We'd call it bread. A is just that word that Python is assigning right here to the value 0, 1, 1, and a bunch of other zeros and ones. Now, being a deleted a line, an empty space line, anywhere where you leave empty space doesn't matter unless it's a tabbed space, or you can use spaces behind it. It doesn't matter. But let's say we do that. It takes it out of the tabbing loop, as Notepad++ shows you. But we can press space there, and it puts it on the same level. Press space there, then there, it puts those two on the same level. Delete one of the spaces, it puts them on different levels. You gotta make sure that this stuff is on the same level when you use it. Otherwise, it's going to screw the entire thing up. I press tab when I do this because it makes it look nicer. But yeah, we'll just save and I'll run that again for effect. And as you can see, it does look quite scary indeed. There, let's flood the whole monitor with zeros and ones. Hope none of you guys are epileptic. That would be very bad for me. Alright, so there we have it, variables, and what variables do. See you guys next time in my next video.